Hi, all. Welcome back to another episode of RunYogi Diaries. This is the first episode in 2022. So, first off, wish you all a very, very happy new year. I hope you had a chance to check out my previous episode on creating transformational new year. It's a powerful one if you've not checked it out. In the house today is an amazing guest, Guru Nayak, who's a mountaineer, a marathoner, and an ultra runner. So we get behind the scenes on his amazing journey, and I hope you take away some tips, some possibility, and get inspired. If you like the work I do in this channel, please remember to hit subscribe, press like, and leave your comments. And remember to share this video if you love the conversation. Thank you. This episode is also available on all the major podcast platforms such as Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor, and others. Let's dig in. Hi Guru, welcome to RunYogi Diaries.
Hi Santosh, nice meeting you.
Indeed, and thank you for joining the show. You obviously have a very fascinating journey of in the mountaineering and ultra running and marathon scene. So you're really a hardcore endurance athlete out there and a professional. So we're going to get into all of that, why, how, all of that stuff. But before that, maybe I'll request you to do a quick personal introduction, and then we'll jump in.
Okay. Hi Santosh. So my name is Gururaj Nayak, and I am basically from a coastal Karnataka village, place called Ankola, but I'm born and brought up in Dandeli. Currently, I work with Nokia as a product owner. I am in Bangalore from last 10 years, mainly for work. I'm married from 2 years now. So that's pretty much about it.
All right. And Dandeli is a beautiful place. I mean, when we were speaking the first time, I felt embarrassed that I've never visited the place, although I've lived in Karnataka for so many years. Right, it's a beautiful place in the middle of the Ghats.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really beautiful place, and I think it's fine because it's getting popular off late. Last 5 years it's exploding, but otherwise, yes. I mean, still, I would say when somebody lives in Dandeli, it's a different experience because you get to see so many private places. The river, and it's very close to nature.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. So, hey, thanks for that. Let's maybe jump in and do a bit of a rewind and go back, how it all started for you. Do a bit of a flashback. How did you? So, I was reading your blog, by the way, and I love your blog. For people who are listening, Guru has a fantastic blog, and I will definitely share that link in the show notes. And it's called The Second Wind.
Right.
So maybe I should ask you the first question. Why is it the second wind?
Okay. In mountaineering and in running, I think you would have heard about the second wind. When you are completely depleted, you feel like you cannot put a step forward. But then after you take like 10 minutes break at a aid station or something, then you get re-energized. Sometimes that is what is called a second wind. And I had a similar experience. I like I said, I came from Dandeli, very close to nature, and I had a very active, schooling. And I mean, I used to cycle. I used to roam around in jungle. I used to play near the jungles and all. But then, when I joined engineering, I met with an accident, and that was pretty bad because the flap of my left foot was completely opened. I still don't have half of my bone on my left metatarsal, the pinky finger of my left leg. So that was after that I was on bed rest for close to 4 months. It took me close to 2 years to start walking properly. I had to
Wow.
learn walking again. And after that, IT setup and, I, and later I started running. So it was like a second wind for me. So that's the reason I chose
Yeah.
that name.
Yeah. Terrific. So, and what prompted you to start running? What got you back on your feet?
Okay. So after the incident, I started. I joined IT and I started working. 5 years was very sedentary, and then
Hmm.
once I thought I will go for a Himalayan expedition. That was in 2015. And when I spoke to the organizer, he said, expeditions in Himalaya are very demanding as such, and you should start doing some aerobic activity. And he gave me
Okay.
a challenge of running 3K in 20 minutes. So that's when I just went to Decathlon, picked up the easiest available shoe there, and started running. And I never had a tracker or something. I just did. I started slow. I mean, first day I could only run 200 meters, but later on I said till three and a half. I used to run 3.5 kilometers and walk 1.5 kilometers alternate days. And this I did for 1 month. I went for the expedition. I did pretty well there. That was in Tapovan. The first expedition was Tapovan, and we tried attempting Chota Shivling. So
So tell us
and
a little bit about that. So, what is Tapovan? What is Chota Shivling? For a lot of people who are listening to this, so this is a Himalayan expedition. You're going somewhere in Himalayas. How did you get there? First of all, what got you interested in that? Did somebody? Was it friends? Was it reading something? What got you fascinated about going to the Himalayas? That's not usual. Not everybody does that, right?
yes. So, like I said, I grew up in Dandeli, and I was always
Hmm.
keen on trekking, and I have done
Okay.
some treks here in Karnataka as well. And even while I was injured when I was in Tumkur for my engineering, I have scaled two mountains, not big ones. But even without when I was wearing only sandals, I was not able to wear shoe because my leg was swollen.
Hmm. Hmm.
Even with sandals, I have trekked two of the mountains in uh, Tumkur. So I was already
Oh,
always interested in that. And for someone who is already into trekking, Himalayan
yeah.
expedition is something that comes naturally. The interest comes naturally.
Right. Right. Makes sense. And you said you've trekked in Tumkur. What are those? The pure rock formations, right? I mean, it's a lot more technical in that sense, correct?
Yes. So there is one place called Siddharabetta. It has steps from bottom till top, but there is a trekking route from the backside. And my friends, with the help of my friends, I was able to do that. And there is one more
Wow.
place called Ramdevar Betta, and there's no proper route as such. You go 10 times, you will take 10 different routes. There's no
Hmm.
defined path. It's not so common one, and it's very challenging sometimes. There are one or
Ah,
two sections that are really challenging. You have to climb with the help of routes that are there. So, and again,
wow.
with the help of my friends, I was able to do that.
Okay. I didn't quite imagine. I know I've lived in Bangalore for so many years, driven towards Chennai, and you see all those, or even towards Tumkur, and you see all these huge bettas. And I've
Yeah.
always wondered why isn't that it's become a popular sport where people are doing freehand climbing or something like that. So it looks like you were doing that.
Not freehand climbing as such, but
Yeah, yeah,
normal trekking.
yeah, absolutely. And great. So your first Himalayan expedition, right? Tapovan, and what was the other one? You said Shiv,
Yeah, Shivling, Chota Shivling. So,
Cheta Shivling.
so Tapovan expedition, the base camp is Gangotri, and if you, I mean, for in Hindu mythology, that place has a really big significance. Okay, the first thing is uh, you start from Haridwar. From Haridwar, you take a bus or a cab to Gangotri. From Gangotri, we start the trekking. Uh, After trekking around 25 kilometers, you reach a place called Gaumuk. Gaumuk, which is considered to be the starting point of River Ganga, right? That's where the Gangotri glacier melts, and the Bhagirathi River starts from there, which further comes
Okay.
down, joins Alaknanda, and becomes Ganges. So that's
Hmm.
a place. And then after crossing the Gangotri Glacier and a big climb, you reach a place called Tapovan. Tapovan is at
Okay.
14,000 feet altitude,
Hmm.
and it's a really beautiful place because you see mountains all four sides, and
Wow.
you see this Bhagirathi 1, 2, 3 peaks, and then you have Sumeru, which is considered to be Lord Indra's mountain, and then you
Hmm.
have this Shivling. The actual Shivling mountain is very unique, and it's in the formation of it looks like a Shivlinga,
Hmm.
and it said that that is where Shiva sat and took Ganges on his head, and that's how
Okay.
Ganges came to the earth. That's how people say. I mean, the mythology says
Right.
that. And there's one beautiful lake there. That's at 15,000 feet, and the lake has is full of blue algae. And in the morning and evening, because of the angle at which the sunlight falls, the lake turns into blue. Okay, it's called Niltal. So its name is Niltal, which is blue lake. So it's a awesome place. I was blessed
Yeah.
to be there for 7 days. We stayed there for 7 days. So no network, nothing, totally disconnected.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. These are those glacial lakes, right? Because there are certain chemicals also that not chemicals, I mean minerals that from the
Yes.
mountains that cause that turquoise blue. I've seen that in the Rockies, in the Canadian Rockies.
Okay.
You have this similar turquoise blue. It's just amazing, right?
Amazing. Yeah.
Just being there is just mind blowing. I haven't been to Himalayas. That's on the bucket list. And listening to you, it definitely, hopefully, all this travel will become easy and we'll get back into those areas.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, please go on. And
Yeah.
so
One
Tapovan
thing.
happens.
But before that, whenever we think about Himalayas, we just think about those snow-capped mountains, right? The
Hmm.
snow-covered area. That's how people sell this, the trekking and expedition industry. But when you
Yeah.
get there, it's the 90% of the area is all moraines, and it's because of those frequent landslides and all. It's all
Hmm.
boulders. It's messy. It looks messy, but
Yeah.
it's a different experience, and even trekking there is really awesome. So that's how it happened, and then I decided that every year I'll go there. One place, I'll pick one place every year and I'll go there. So that was in 2015, the first expedition happened. The second in 2016, I actually went back to Goichala, that is in Sikkim. That's Kanchenjunga base camp. And in 17, again, I went to Vyaskund and Friendship Peak, that is in Himachal Pradesh. And in 2018, I couldn't go because I signed up for Kardung challenge, and we were really preparing for that.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is, so there is an intertwined story here, right? So we started with why you started running, and you started running to get fit for the first Himalayan expedition. So,
Yes.
so also parallelly, I'm assuming the running journey was taking its own course. So, like, what was happening there? So, while you were, pursuing these mountaineering expeditions, what was happening to your running?
Okay, yeah. I mean, after coming back from my first expedition, I continued that untracked runs, I would say, because I was not tracking them. I was totally alien from this running groups, events, and all. But I just kept increasing. That's gradual, right? We want to progress. So that 3.5 became 7. Then in Feb 2016, I just did a 10K on my own to see, and I completed it in surprisingly in 49 minutes. So
Wow.
I thought, like,
Because your mountaineering, fitness is paying back something here.
yeah. So then, by then I was in a company called Tango, and I had a good
Mhm.
colleague by name Navneet. He's also famous in
Mhm.
Bangalore running group. and he
Okay.
introduced me to a person called Vamshi Babu. So he is
Mm.
my, I mean, he is my coach now. So we run together. We have run so many ultras together. You would have
Mm-hmm.
seen his pic in my blogs because Kardungla challenge
Mm-hmm.
as well. He was with me. So he he is into fitness industry from close to 20 years, and
Mm.
I happened to meet him. So in 2016, after running 10K in Feb, I thought, okay, I'll sign up for an event, and in July this Bangalore 10K challenge happens, and I signed up for
Mm-hmm.
that event. And while I was preparing for that, Bangalore Marathon was announced, and
Mm.
that was probably in May. So I thought I'll do a half in that. But then one of my colleague, his name is Shiv Prasad Kamat, he
Mm.
informed that he is gonna try full. I asked him what are you planning? He said last year I did half in somewhere around
Mm.
220 or something. So I'm trying to do full this time. So I said okay fine, let me hold on to the registration, and I tried running a half on that weekend, and I was able to complete in 153. So I thought, okay,
Nice.
I still have 4 months. I'll sign up for full. So basically, before running a single event, I had already signed up
Uh-huh.
for a full marathon,
Way to
and
go.
and then yeah, I mean, 10K challenge happened, and then Bangalore Marathon also I ran. I mean, I completed in 420 something. So
Mhm.
the second event, live event itself, was a full marathon, and I was already into completely into running. And by then, I was already in company with Babu sir and Run Machines of Sutra. So that's the running group we have. It's a non-commercial running group. It's run with only close friends and some. We have uh, we have around 200 people. Not a few of them are
Mm.
regular, and yeah, it's a non-commercial group actually. So then after Bangalore, naturally we thought, we'll give a try at Mumbai Marathon. That's in Jan 17, 2017. So, and we prepared really hard. Babu sir gave a really good plan, and we planned to do sub 4 in Mumbai, and we did. Both myself, all three, Navneet, myself, and Babu sir, three of us trained for that, and we did sub 4 in Mumbai. That was in 2017. And after that,
So
yes,
you
I
know
mean,
you casually, so you're very casually saying, yeah, I did just sit sub four, but you went from 420 to sub four. So what was the secret? What did you do right? What did you have to uh, do different?
so for my first marathon, I never did any, I did not speak to anyone. All I was doing was running by feel, and only
Hmm.
3 runs I ran with Babu sir and Navneet. That's with a group. So other than
Okay.
that, everything else was solo running with no inputs from anyone. Uh,
Yeah.
but after that, Babu sir gave a really good plan. So we started hill training, interval training, and all, and tempo runs. So that was the key. So a structured training for, I would say, from October to Jan, you have 2 months of training. So 2 months of
Mhm.
structured training was the key for that, I would say.
So from your own personal feel, right? So when you're running a 420, I can't do the quick math, but I'm assuming it's around 420 would be close to about 10-minute mile, right?
Yes,
Um, and or in kilometers, forgive me because I'm thinking in miles. Uh,
six and something. Yeah.
Kilometers in pace, right? Now you are going to be running at a much faster pace to hit, so to do a sub 4. So from a feel perspective, how was it? Because if you so one is the training aspect, but how did it translate for you into how it felt? Was it comfortable to run at a higher pace? Did it happen naturally, or on the day of the race you had to like struggle or push? What was going on?
Okay, I would say the difference was, when I did 420, I took a lot of breaks.
Hmm.
So when I did sub 4, we did not take much break. I ran
Okay.
more consistently, I would say. So enduring
Hmm.
the thing for 42 kilometers, that is that was the key, I would say, because having the same consistent pace. I mean, I did to take some breaks, but
Yeah.
they were much. I mean, hardly 2-3 minutes
Yeah. Yeah.
in total.
So basically, you did feel at ease running at a higher pace or a higher effort, right?
Yes, yes,
Based on the effort, based on the training input. Because just for someone who's listening to this and who's also thinking about going from a certain finish to another finish, higher finish, what does it take physiologically and mentally? Is what I'm trying to kind of understand from you. So yeah, clear. That makes sense. Yep.
yeah. The temporals and the intervals, they did make a
Mm,
difference, I would say. You can hold on to the pace for much longer time compared if you are
yeah.
just doing slow runs or long runs.
Yeah. Yeah. Terrific. Yeah. So
So
you Mumbai Marathon.
yeah, then we decided that we will stick to Bangalore Marathon and Mumbai Marathon, just
Mm,
two marathons in a year, and then we'll do this TCS 10K and a few half
mm,
marathons in between. So we did not want to sign up for a lot of races in a year. So 17, I ran TCS 10K, uh, and then I was in my third expedition in 2017, the Friendship Peak and Vyaskund.
mhm,
So at that time, I was in Manali and I was returning from the expedition, and I have a good friend in Bangalore running called Asif. So
mhm.
Asif was in Manali that time, and he was running in Manali. That was strange for me. I thought, why would somebody run at Manali, which is at 4,000 feet, 4,000 meter sorry, it's around 6,000 feet altitude. Okay, so why would someone run in Manali? Then I questioned him. I just texted him asking, hey, as if, what are you doing? He said, I'm preparing for Kardung. So he was on his way to Leh, and he took, he stayed in Manali for a few days with his friends, and he was going towards Leh to finish the Kardungla challenge. Then I did a quick check about Kardungla challenge. There is a very nice documentary on it, a 20-minute documentary, and it's one of the awesome races in, I would say, in India at a
Mhm.
high altitude.
Wow.
So he finished it. He finished the 2017 edition. And
Mhm,
I came back, I spoke with Babu sir. I said, Babu sir, there's something really challenging. I think we should give it a serious thought.
mhm.
And then he said, okay, fine, let's think about it. And probably in Jan or February time, we decided that, we'll be participating in 2018 edition of Khardungla Challenge. And then,
Yeah.
so that was
Kardungla. So just so that Kardungla is and that's the highest ultra marathon. At least is that the highest in all of the world, or is it, because when I saw the website it says is the highest ultra marathon, right?
I'm not really sure about it, because at that time they said it was the highest, but now I'm not sure. But
Uh,
Khardungla as such was once a highest mountaineering pass. So
okay.
the motorable mountaineering pass. But now I think it is third or fourth, because some other passes have come up. I hear one in China and all. So it was
Hmm.
around 18,000 feet height. So it was the highest motorable mountaineering pass. But now
Hmm.
it's one of the highest motorable mountaineering pass. So yeah,
So what? So it seems like you're a sucker for challenges, right? You. I mean, obviously, the reason you got into mountaineering because you grew up in nature, and it was a natural calling, and Himalayas is like the ultimate destination if you are someone who is into climbing or mountaineering. But you also seem to fall for challenges that come your way, right? Going from 420 to 4, and now or sub 4, and now this Kardungla. So what motivates you? Why do you do that? What do you get out of it?
I mean, it's, I would just say, you just want to progress. That's
Hmm.
and new challenges. One running becomes sedentary after some time, so you want to go for some events that are really kind of destination run, I would say. It could be
Yeah.
Kardungla, or there are quite a bit of such events in India now. Coorg has this
Hmm.
Malnad Ultra, and
Hmm.
then there is Buddha Trails at Sandakpur, and all. There are a lot of them. So I just thought, let's choose one which is difficult and which
Yeah.
is, which we had some 6 months training, so we wanted to train really hard and go there. So that's the reason we
Yeah.
chose that. Yeah,
Got it. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Make life interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. So
And then
Kardungla happened and you're getting ready for that. Yeah, let's get back in there. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, next 6 months, we Babu sir gave us a simple plan that's only slow and long runs. That's the LSDs. Okay, so we were doing that. No, we did not do any challenging runs, but we slowly stacked up the miles. We started from around 300 kilometers a month, and during August, that was just before the event, I think we did 500 kilometers. So we also did one night run. So we started at 9 p.m. and we were roaming around in Bangalore for 10 hours. So
Oh, that must be fun.
it was, but the group was really good. There were people came. I mean, my friends from running group came. They were there for us. Some people did 20, some people did 50, and we did
Hmm.
around 84 kilometers in that 10 hours. So the idea was, Khardungla challenge starts at 3 a.m. So we
Hmm.
wanted to have that feel of running with sleep deprivation. So that's the reason we did that, and it was good. And then we did one awesome run that was, we rode to Yana. Do you know this place, Yana?
No, no.
That's near Gokarna. So it's again a mythological place. So
Okay.
we came there and we stayed in one of my relatives' place. 14 people came from Bangalore. Five of us rode on motorcycle. There were two cars as well. So we stayed in
Uh-huh.
my relative's place, and we did a 60K from Yana till almost till Gokarna. So it's a
Hmm.
30K one side and back. So it's a really challenging run because it's in Western Ghats, rolling hills,
Hmm.
and it's humid. So that 60K was really challenging. So yeah, I mean that
That's
was
nice.
one of the nice preparation for Khardungla challenge, and the event was in I think it was in September. Yeah, and 2018 edition was one of the toughest Kardungla challenge. Even their website says that.
Okay.
Actually, what happened was, when we started running, the Kardungla challenge starts at 14,000 feet
Hmm.
elevation. Okay, so it's like 60% of the run is over 14,000 feet, where you have very less oxygen. So it's a different
Hmm.
kind of challenge. It's just 72
Yeah.
kilometers, but it's a different kind of challenge. And from 14,000 feet, you go up to 17,600 or something. So it's all
Wow.
climb. The first 33 kilometers, you're just climbing. Okay, yeah, and there are places where you cannot run at all because the oxygen is so low. It's very easy to get hit by AMS, that's acute mountaineering sickness. So that day it started raining as well, and then there was snowing. And when we
Wow.
reached the Khardungla top, the temperature was around minus 16 degrees. Minus 16.
Celsius, right?
Yeah, degree Celsius. Yeah.
Wow.
So Asif had shared his experience. He said, when they reached Khardungla top, there were a lot of army personnel who were receiving him. There was a stall for which was giving hot garlic soup and all. I mean, we reached there. There was nobody. It was so cold that nobody dared coming out. And we had to search here and there for that. The place where we used to get that hot garlic soup. Then it was in one of the sheds. We somehow found it. So it was challenging, and yeah, I mean, after that, it's all downhill till Leh. From
Uh-huh.
from 17,000 feet, you come down to 11,000 feet. But that also has, it's not so easy. You feel like, just 40 kilometers downhill, anybody can zip through.
No, it's tough.
No, it's
Tough.
because
Yeah.
it's all mountain roads. It's all zigzag roads, and it's dangerous also. If you even lose one footing, you might fall like thousands of feet. So it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
tough, and you have to be really careful. And we did pretty well there. I know we finished in 10 hours, 15 minutes, something. So did really well.
So regarding your, so yeah, I mean, first off, running downhill, it's a myth that it's easier. The running downhill is equally stressful on your quads as much as it is when you're going up, right? Because when you're running down, you're braking
Yes.
to get balance, and if you're going to be running for 30 kilometers down, your legs are going to, take the battering. So I completely relate to that. Now, with regards to prep for something like this, you're from the south in Bangalore. You live in Bangalore. You're from the coastal side of Karnataka, and then you're running on 14,000 feet, right, where the air is thin. So how do you prepare for something like that? How do you prepare your body for something like that?
Okay, so there are two things. One is the altitude itself, and second is the elevation gain. For the elevation gain, we prepared in Nandi Hills. Sometimes we used
Hmm.
to go to Nandi on a weekend. We used to run twice or thrice the complete 7K top, and we used to come back.
Okay.
We used to go back and forth. So that was the elevation gain part. But
Hmm.
for the altitude, you can't do anything, because
Hmm.
wherever you go in south, the highest you can go is like
Yeah.
hardly 2,000 feet or something, 3,000 feet,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So for that, what we did was we traveled to Manali, and from Manali we took a bus to Leh instead of directly flying to Leh or to Srinagar. The advantage I would say is, from Manali to Leh, when you travel by a bus, you cross five high altitude passes. So you have this Rotangla, then you have this Baralachala, Nakila, Tanglangla. So all these are high passes. So Tanglangla is at around 17,000 feet. So while traveling itself, you go this altitude and you come back to Leh. So generally in mountaineering, that's how we acclimatize. You go
Okay.
slow to a higher point, and when you come back, your body gets adjusted to that that lower oxygen level. So that was how we prepared. I mean, that's
Hmm.
uh, many people do that. They take bus from Manali to Leh, because on the way itself you get acclimatized for that.
Got it.
Yeah.
And maybe 3 days, 3 to 4 days for that. You give yourself about 3 to 4 days.
Yes, in Leh we were there for 3 days, and
Hmm.
But Leh is at 11,000 feet, so still it's a challenge. Uh,
Yeah.
you start 11,000. There's a very big difference from 11,000 to 14,000. So
Yeah.
the
Absolutely.
yeah.
We can only imagine that. And how was it to run? I know you've done mountaineering, which is at a slower pace. Now you this is the first time you're running at that kind of elevation. How was it for you?
Yeah, initially I started run walk,
Mm.
running for some 2-3 minutes and walking for 1 minute, something like that. I don't have the exact details as
Yeah.
such. And then there's one place called as North Pulu, uh, where from there the North Pulu is probably at 15,000 feet or something. From there you have to walk. I mean,
Mm.
running really becomes difficult. Even walking becomes difficult. So
Hmm.
you have to walk till Kardungla top. So we were walking there. Even walking becomes really difficult. It's like trekking, to be
Mm.
honest. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
roads are not so good because of this. It's a mountain road, so it's all
Hmm.
moraines and all. So you have to walk. It's all zipping like this. So it's
Yeah.
and till KC, the Kardungla top, we walked. And from there, while coming back, we started slow runs and run, walk combination. So that's how we did. And after reaching a place called South Pulu, you have complete roads and the altitude also. You're at a relatively lower altitude. So from there, we were able to do a pretty decent run till Leh. So
Okay.
that was the plan as well. So we executed it the right way,
Okay.
and definitely inputs from Asif helped from the previous experience. Yeah.
Hmm. And what kind of shoe do you use for something like this? Is it because it's like a trail come road? So did you use a road shoe or did you have to use a trail shoe for this?
No, I think a road shoe is enough for this because
Hmm.
it's all roads as such. I mean, it's a motorable road, but
Okay.
with some places where
Yeah.
it's not a like narrow trail as such. It's a proper road where any vehicle can go. So we I used road shoe itself, and that was good enough.
And do you track heart rate in these kind of expeditions or high altitude runs? Do you
I
use heart
generally
rate at all? To
No, I don't use it in the this
Mhm.
one. So, but sometimes I just see which zone I'm in and all. I mean, Garmin obviously gives you heart rate,
Yeah, yeah.
so that is there. But I don't really train based on heart rate. So it's
Okay.
more on the feel.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I was just curious to know, for someone who's training primarily on, sea level or close to sea level when they go run at such altitude, what is the effect on heart rate for the same level of effort, right?
Right.
Are you? So yeah, I was curious about that. Awesome. So the Kardungla happened, and then what? And then you went on to do what, the Stok Kangri expedition next. I saw in your blog
Yeah.
that was a big
So
one, right?
yes, but before that, when we came back from Kardungla challenge, Babu sir gave me a shocker. He said the Kardungla challenge was in September. Within 4 weeks, we had the Bangalore marathon. He said we are going to do sub 3:30,
Okay, bring it
and he
on.
said, fine. I mean, I'll give you a 4 weeks training. Let's do 3:30, and executed it. Executed the training, and I and Babu sir were able to do it. So he did 3:26. I did 3:28, and that was in October. So that was our first sub 3:30. So
And what did you have to dial for that? Again, was it the same template, just focusing on tempo and high intensity training
I
for
would
that?
say the LSDs which we did for Kardungla challenge did really
Mm,
increase our speed. I mean, this is
mhm,
something it's kind of oxymoron, but running slow does increase your speed. That's what I have
mm,
experienced. We did
mm,
only LSD for 6 months, but that increased our probably our endurance, our capacity, but we were able to do it. So. Uh, I mean, the last 4 weeks, I wouldn't say would have done much difference. Yes, we followed. I did, intervals. I did tempos, but it was only for 4 weeks, right? But the preparation, probably the body preparation, was done as part of KC. I would say Kardingla challenge,
makes sense.
and
Makes
Babu sir
sense.
knew it pretty well, so he said we can do it, and we
Yeah,
were
that's
able to do it.
amazing.
Yeah.
So going from a 420 to sub 4 to sub 330, matter of what, 3 years we're talking about? That's quite incredible.
16 I did 16 October I did 420. 18 October I did 3:30.
Hmm. Wow,
So
in
two
matter of two
years.
years,
Yeah.
so quite incredible. And what about how did your body take this sudden, spurt of endurance? I mean, what about injuries and things like that? How did you take that?
Well, I had one major injury that was before, that was in 2017. I had a shin splint. So, but other than that, uh, not much, I would say. But
That's
I
good.
take it really easy. I don't run more
Hmm.
than 3 runs a week. So I give enough rest to the body. I'm not a gym
Hmm.
goer or a very big fan of strengthening. I just do body weight strengthening twice a week, like lunges, squats, and uh,
Yeah.
pretty much basic stuff. I don't do much of strengthening, but at the same time, I do. I give a lot of time for the body to recover. I don't do. I
Hmm.
never do more than three or four. Four when we were running Kardungla, we did a fourth run on Sunday as a recovery run after a really long run on Saturday, like 40, 45, or 50 kilometers. But otherwise,
Hmm.
till today, I don't do more than three runs a week. So I
Okay.
and apart from that one big shin splint which I had in 2017, I
Hmm.
I did not have any major injury as such.
Terrific. Knock on wood. Hope you
Yeah,
stay injury free forever. And I was seeing in the on your blog that your parents didn't know that you were doing all this crazy adventures, right? And so, and you had written that your mom found out through social media or something like that, right? So was it now? Was it after Kardungla that she found out, or?
no, actually, like I said, I had that big accident, right? So it's, I mean, even if you see my feet now, it looks really different. So
Hmm.
it looks scary. So uh,
Hmm.
so I did not want them to be, worried because of me, and that's the reason I did
Yeah.
not let them know. All they knew was I was running. My cousin told my mom that I was running, so then she thought, okay, he would be running 1 or 2 kilometers. Then once after like 4 5 months, he again told her that what is your son doing? He's running 42 kilometers. Then she came and asked, what are you doing? I mean, I'm doing 40. Yeah, I was running. So one good thing that happened with that was I started running in my hometown as well. Before that, just to hide that I was not doing that. But now I got the freedom to even run in the hometown. So yeah, I mean, there was nothing to hide as such. But only thing is I didn't want them to be tensed because of
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
factors.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I would say I'm maybe over generalizing here, but in our culture, the tendency is to take it easy.
Yeah,
Do yoga but don't run, right? Why are you running? Why? So there's also a cultural baggage, I guess, for not all people, but I think especially among the middle class. Uh, Most of us have grown up saying, "Why are you trying to do this? Just take it easy, right?"
yeah,
Because of concern, of fear of injury, and things like that.
yeah.
So your feet, does your feet? You talked about your feet, but is it functional now? Does it hurt, or are you okay?
I think it's been like it's 22, so it's been 15 years now, so it's okay now. But still,
Hmm.
I do get some waves of pain sometime.
Okay.
I do get, but it's manageable, and I think I found a way to manage it. So
Yeah.
somehow I
Well, it's
can
beyond
manage.
manageable for you because you're not just managing; you're thriving, right? Come on, you're doing some crazy stuff, great stuff out there. So it's not it's you're beyond managing it. You're thriving. So something is working there. Terrific. So yeah, let's kind of come back. So you did sub 330, and we were talking about the Stok Kangri project, if I'm
Yeah.
pronouncing that correctly. Yeah.
So in 2018, like I said, I did not go for mountaineering because I was concentrating on the Kardungla
Hmm.
challenge. So I decided that in 19 I would be doing two expeditions. So
Hmm.
before that, Babu sir told we'll again go to Mumbai and do a sub 320 in Jan
Okay.
2019. So we went there, we
Babu
did
sir
it.
is amazing.
Yeah, he's really amazing. I mean, his training plans, are awesome. It has worked really well for me to the dot
Hmm.
for me. Okay, and his
Hmm.
predictions are also really good. So he said, we are capable of doing 320. I'll give you a training plan. Let's do it for in the Jan of 2019. So yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, we trained for it again, and really hard runs. And in Jan 2019, we did 319 in Mumbai. We both ran together, throughout the race. We both ran together, and we finished it in 3:19. And after that, in April, I have a very good friend called Vishnu. He stays
Mhm.
in US currently. Um, I and Vishnu planned to do two expeditions in 2019, and the bigger one was Stok Kangri. We zeroed down on Stok Kangri, and there were two reasons for that. One is, Stok Kangri is not really a technical climb as such. It
Mhm.
doesn't need much of technical expertise for it's a 6,000er. It's 20,000 feet mountain, but it's not so
Mhm.
technical. I mean, only during the final phase of the climb, it's little technical. And the other thing was, Stok Kangri expedition was supposed to be closed down in 2019. I mean, for
Okay.
3 years, 20, 21, 22, Stok Kangri is not allowed because of the pollution the mountaineering is causing to the village there. So
Mhm.
that's the reason we thought, okay, let's do Stok Kangri. And as a prep for that, I and Vishnu thought we'll do Annapurna Base Camp in April. So we went for ABC. We had a lot of challenges there because we had kept only 5 days for that because of the
Mhm.
leaves and all. And ABC as such is done in 8 days. If you go with a company like Trek the Himalaya or India Hikes, it's done in eight
Mhm.
days. But we thought we'll do it in 5 days, and we
Mhm.
actually did it in 4 days.
Oh wow.
And we had some concerns there because that time we had demonetization and Nepal stopped accepting Indian currency, so we ran short of money there. And the 4 days as well, we did not have a I mean, we stayed on two food because we did not have money to. I mean, we had Indian currency, but we did not have Nepali currency or the old Indian notes. So
Okay.
that was a challenge of its own. And but it was a good one because we were really pushing with limited resources there.
Mhm.
And 3 days, I think we did not have breakfast. We just walked. We were done by the lunch time. So we had a big fat lunch, we slept, we had a good dinner, and next day morning again we were up and moving.
So that's forced intermittent fasting there.
Kind of, yes.
And you were fine.
Yes, we were fine. At least
Okay.
after coming
Well,
back we felt we were fine. But it was a really good preparation for
mhm.
the Stok Kangri. And also
Mhm.
it was like it would have been much more difficult if it was not for some awesome people we met on the trek. I met one person called
Mhm.
Abhishek from Pune, and
Mhm.
he gave me like I think 2,000 rupees there,
Wow.
without knowing. I knew him for the first time. I was just wearing this Bangalore Marathon T-shirt, and he identified and said, "Okay, are you a runner?" I said, "Yeah." And he is also a runner. He does half marathons and all in Pune.
Uh,
His name is Abhishek. So he just said, we were talking, and I said, we have this problem, and he just uh, pulled out a 2,000 note. I mean, Nepalese currency, 2,000 note, and he gave it to me, and he said, just take my number. Don't worry about it. Just whenever you go back, you can always send it to me. So
that's
that's
nice.
that's that's an awesome gesture. I
Yeah.
mean, this is really common in mountaineering and also in running, I would say, especially ultra running. People helping each other. That's a really good gesture. Okay, and from then I prepared for Stoke. So Stoke was also actually we our plan was really aggressive there as well because we had only 1 week off. So
Mhm.
including weekends we had 9 days, and that should include travel as well. So I mean, Stoke experience is really dear to me. I mean, it's painful as well as very
Mhm.
close because whenever I have any difficulty in life, I'll go back to Stoke
Mhm.
experience because we traveled from Bangalore to Leh directly on flight, But the problem was the flight had a layover at Mumbai. Mumbai is at sea level, and we were there for 4 hours. From sea level, we directly flew to Leh, that's at 11,000 feet altitude, and we were roaming around in Leh for all the crampons, ice axe, and everything. We had to arrange the logistics as well. And the
Right. Right.
problem was, since it was the last year of expedition, there was a company called Mitra who had food tents in some of the places on the trail. So they had removed the food cans, the stalls. So what we had to do was we had to carry all the supplies, including food, the heater, everything we had to, including tent. And since I did not go with a trekking group, only I and Vishnu were there. We had to carry everything. We had
Wow.
hired a guide from base camp to the summit, but till base
Hmm.
camp we were supposed to go by our own. And since we had only 5 days, we thought we will take a longer route again. Uh, from Stoke, from Leh, you can directly go to Stoke village, and from there, Stok Kangri base camp is like 2 days trek. But we thought we will go via longer route that would acclimatize us, because there is a Stoke Pass which is at 16,000 feet. So if we cross that on the way, we would acclimatize. So we took a different route, which the first day was in Rumbak, the place called Rumbak. And when we reached there, Vishnu got hit by AMS badly. So that night, we had a really difficult time deciding what to do. So he suggested that we go back to a nearby village, the Rumbak village. So we were in the camping site, only two of us, nobody else was there. And he suggested we'll go back to the village. But if we went back to the village, that meant we will never be able to do the expedition. So we'll have to go back. That was the thing. So, but I told him to have Dimox, and we'll see after 2 hours what how the situation would be. And he got better. We stayed there, and next day we went to the next camping site, that is Mankormo. So by then we had crossed the Stoke Pass, and Vishnu was better. He was acclimatized, but it was very risky for him to let go to base camp, because again base camp is at 16,000 feet. So there was good chance he would be.
So the AMS, right? We can. What happens when somebody? What are symptoms for AMS?
Right. AMS is acute mountaineering sickness. So basically, what happens is, when you are at a higher altitude, the oxygen level goes down. That's because the pressure, the barometric pressure is less at higher altitude. So basically, if I can simply explain. At the sea level, in this there is X amount of oxygen molecules,
Right.
right? Because of the pressure, it's packed. So one breath, you get lot of oxygen molecules. When the pressure is less, the same area has less oxygen molecules, and one breath you get lesser oxygen molecules, right? So because of that, what happens is, when the body has a natural reaction to it, it thinks that throwing away extra water will uh, cure this. It tried to reduce
Okay.
the body weight. It's a natural reaction which body try, but that is fatal, because because of when the water excess water is thrown out, the blood becomes thick, and blood cannot travel to most of the places, the veins, through veins, because
So
the
how
blood
does that
becomes.
happen? Like, is it sweating? Is how does the water? How does the body through more excretion or sweating? How does that happen?
Yeah, excretion. You
Okay.
urinate more, and
Okay.
also sweating also. So you have to drink a lot of water, uh, and you'll have to stay in a place for longer time for the body to get acclimatized. But here, since we had a little aggressive plan, we came to Leh, and next day we started trekking. That was not a good idea actually. So
And what about symptoms? How do you know? Like you said, your friend Vishnu got hit by AMS. So how does it show up? Is it fatigue? He's not able to move. What
headache
happens?
headache is
Headache.
one of the symptoms,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
you get a lot of headache, nausea. So these are the
Hmm.
symptoms. So
Okay.
yeah, so I mean, if you are experienced mountaineer, you get to know that,
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes, some disorientation. Disorientation is less seen in initial stages of EMS, but more in the advanced stages of EMS. But yeah, the headache, nausea, those are the basic symptoms.
Okay.
So
And for Vishnu, it was an advanced stage, or was it?
it's
What
basic.
stage was he in?
It was in the
Basic.
basic
Okay.
stage,
Hmm.
but good that we got to know it. And there is
Hmm.
one, kind of a magic drug called Dimox. That's if you
Hmm.
take that tablet, it thins the blood a bit, and the
Okay.
situation gets better. And once we
Hmm.
identify, since see Vishnu is also a really experienced mountaineer, so
Hmm.
he had been to 16,000 something quite sometimes, like, twice he has been there, I think. He was with me
Hmm.
when we went to Goichala, point one. So we thought, that would be okay for both of us, and that's how we planned, but it did not really
Yeah.
work out. So I had to send him. I said, let's cancel the expedition itself,
Hmm.
because there's no point. But then he said, why would you cancel because of me? So he said, you
Hmm.
carry on. I'll go from Mankorma. I'll go back to Leh. You carry on to Stok Base Camp and you summit. But the problem was, like I said, we were carrying everything, and we had shared it.
Hmm.
I was carrying the tent and some things. He was carrying the burner, the stove, the food supply, and all. But then I had to stack everything in my rucksack, and I had to go ahead to base camp. I was there in base camp for 3 days alone, and the guide came, and luckily I had a window for summit. The day when I had planned for summit, that day the window was good. The previous day people were beaten back badly because the weather was not good, but that day the weather was good and I was able to summit, and that was the first summit of summer 2019.
19.
So yeah.
Wow.
So
And this is Stok Kangri is at 20,000 plus feet, right?
yes,
21,000 feet.
20,000 plus. Yeah, it's 6,000
Wow.
meters. So yeah.
6,000 meters. Wow. And wow, that's quite amazing. And I saw that in your blog, in the pictures you have shown Indus River. In it's an Indus Valley that you pass
Yes,
through,
yes,
which is quite at least for me it was quite an amazing experience because we are all about Indus Valley civilization. We are
yeah,
basically children of the Indus Valley. India is the word India itself is derived from Indus Valley. Did you feel that? Because I looking at your picture, I felt that.
yeah.
So
I mean,
wow, Indus River.
yeah, that place is magical. Actually, the Leh Ladakh, that place is magical. Yeah, you get to do a river rafting as well in that river. There's a place while you go from Leh to Srinagar. There's a place where you can
Yeah,
do the river rafting. So it's really good. I mean, the valley. I mean, the picture. I see. I'm a strong believer that picture doesn't say anything,
yeah,
because
yeah,
what we
yeah.
see from bare eyes, that's much more magical, I would say. And
Yeah,
it's
I mean more than the visuals for me, the fact that you are by the Indus River, right? The
yes,
birthplace of our civilization.
correct.
You know, it is the birthplace. That is where everything comes from, and the whole civilization is the Indus Valley civilization, and all that. That was what I was saying. It's something there
Yes,
was like a wow about it, right? Just being there,
definitely,
where it all began thousands of years ago, right?
definitely.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, congratulations on the summit.
Thank you.
Oh, quite an adventure.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was emotional as well, because the last thing I thought, when we had a good trekking window, I mean, I would have liked to be there with Vishnu. Uh, that was a kind of a challenge we took, but somehow it did
Yeah.
not work out for him. And we plan to do
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
when things get better. So anyway, he's due to come back. So
All right.
we'll plan again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we do wish that you get back there, and it's closed because of just environmental reasons. They just don't want
Yes.
too much crowding there. Okay.
Well, actually, some pollution was happening because of
Mm.
mountaineering in the Stoke village. So
Mm.
it was a 3 year. They said it's 3 years, and I'm not sure because the 3 years went by because of the pandemic now. So
Yeah. So, what do you think of that? I mean, I do hear about overcrowding in Mount Everest, for example. I mean, it seems to be a common feature now. A lot of people headed to Himalayas. What do you think? I mean, how does one handle that? What do you think we should do? Should we cut back?
I mean, I can only give my perspective.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there are a lot of there are a lot of trekking companies who have come up
Mm.
recently, like India Hikes, Trek the Himalaya, and all. So
Mm.
there's a good thing and a bad thing there. The good thing
Mm.
is they have made trekking accessible to everyone. So by
Yeah.
everyone, I mean even people who are not so fit, are able to do
Yeah.
mountaineering because they'll
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to carry their rucksack. There are
Mm.
porters to do that. There are mules to take their luggage, which I personally feel is not a good thing because it's it's not a place for picnic. My
Yeah.
perspective. You go there, you carry your supply. It's a difficult place. You carry your supply. You go there, you enjoy and come back. I mean, you should be fit enough to do that. So that's
Yeah.
the its accessibility is increased because of these people, but at the same time with accessibility comes the other side, right? Because mountains it's mostly sub-zero temperature where things don't decay as much as it decays in
Mm.
the plains. So the even the
Right.
human excreta that stays there for longer time because of no microbial activity. So it's the downside, with overcrowding. The uh, we feel that it's just in the snow and all, but it stays there, and
Yeah. Yeah.
so it doesn't decay. So that's the reason, the pollution is much more compared to the
Mhm.
plains.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, I don't, I'm not a mountaineer, but I do read about this, and it always, you always wonder whether it is mountains or the oceans. Now, even the oceans are more accessible.
Yeah,
And, well, tourism is so nice to see everybody going out and enjoying. At the same time, you wonder for the future generations, whether something will be left behind for
left.
future
Yeah,
generations, right? So
yeah.
it's a question. We don't have answers for this. By the way, I hear a rooster, calling out in the background, which is nice because it's like morning, and it's a
I
nice sound
I
in the
stay in
background.
village, so yeah.
Is that your rooster? Is that your rooster at home?
No, no, no. It's neighbors.
Okay, 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 cool. All right. Well, that's amazing. That's a lovely story. So coming back to your next big thing that you did just last month, which is your first 100 miler, the Border Ultra, right? And so let's hear about that. How did that come about?
Well, uh, after Stok Kangri, I'll just take a couple of minutes there.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
we prepared. I mean, I when I had a talk with Babu sir, he said, let's do one more marathon. Let's try to bring down the time, and we prepared for Delhi Marathon in 2020, and he gave a timing of sub 310. We were not able to achieve that. We did it in 312. So
Wow.
af- yeah, after that, pandemic hit. The Delhi Marathon was in Feb 2020.
So
Since
is that your Boston qualifying time? Does it put you in a
no,
Boston qualifying?
no,
Okay, you're a young guy, so you should run faster.
exactly.
But that's amazing. 312. Wow. Wow. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. After
Go
that,
ahead.
that was in Feb, and in March, lockdown began in India, and
Mm,
I came back to my hometown. You know, I
mm,
was no longer in Bangalore and started running alone here. Here, the problem is, it's humid all the year. It's a coastal place, so it's humid, and there's no one to run together for at least
yeah.
for my distance. So
Yeah. Yeah.
there are people who run 2 to 3 kilometers here. Very few that too, but nobody with whom I can tag along. So I started running alone, and I can't do
So,
hard.
so Guru,
Yes,
in your hometown, I hope there are no little kids coming chasing you with stones and sticks when you're running. It's like, why is this crazy guy running so long?
fortunately no, but there are good amount of dogs.
Dogs. Well, dogs there in Bangalore too. So yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not so afraid, so it's okay. So I manage that. Then
Yeah.
last 1.5 years I have been training slow. I mean, I just
Mm,
concentrate on distance, and I just want to
mm,
maintain the fitness. That's it. So I'm keeping a mileage of around 50K a week,
mm.
3 runs, 50 kilometers a week. That's how I'm keeping. I mean, I'm not doing much, fast runs and all. I'm not able to do that because, I have to self hydrate here. So self
Mhm, mhm.
support. So that's the problem.
By the
So,
way, I don't know if you read this. I read it somewhere. I live in a part of the US which is also very humid, in Texas. And I read, and in summer it gets very, very humid here, hot and humid. So I found an article which said that if you run in humidity, the mitochondrial response to running in humidity is the same as, or similar almost, to running in high altitude with low oxygen. I think you should Google that, because I don't know how far it is true, but you should Google that, because maybe it will make you feel good saying, okay, I'm running in humidity. That's as good as me running in the Himalayas or something.
yeah,
You should check that out.
definitely. I will check that out. But at the same time, I can say the difference when I go back to Bangalore, it's the running in Bangalore becomes really, easy when
Hmm.
after training here. So I was training here, no events, nothing, and I, I, in last, I think in July, I heard about this event, and
Hmm.
when I did some googling about it, it had three categories: 50, 100, and 100 miler. 100 miler, the it started from Jaisalmer, and it went till Longewala Post, where the 1971 war happened. And the problem with 50 miles, 50K and 100K was, it was the same starting point, but it used to end before the that exact point. And this year it was much special because it was the 50th anniversary of the India's victory in the Longewala war. So that's the reason I said, okay, fine, let me try 100 miler. Then I had 4 months for that, and also I had already registered for a Hennur Ultra event that I had
Hmm.
registered for 100K category there, which was scheduled to happen in May. And because of the second wave, that was postponed and it was rescheduled in October. So I thought, okay, fine, I'll run the 100K at Hennur, and then I'll assess how my body is. And I always had an option to downgrade the category, but
Hmm.
I did the 100K in 14 hours. So that was a good confidence booster for me
Hmm.
because, even if I do 100K in 15 hours in the event, I always have
Yeah.
9 hours, and, 9 hours is good enough. Not 9 hours, sorry, 15, 13 hours, 13 hours for completing the remaining 60K, which is
Hmm.
quite enough, right? So
Yeah.
I thought, okay, that's let me do 100 miler, and yeah, the preparation wise, it was all okay, and I did a self-supported 50K here. I
Hmm.
ran with my hydration bag. I ran from my place to my in-laws' place, taking a longer route.
Hmm.
It's a 20K, but I took a longer route, and I again hit that Yana road where we had run during Kardung
Hmm.
challenge. It's a rolling hill, and it's it was quite challenging. So I thought the preparation was fine. And one thing was, I always had that in mind that, I was not as prepared as I was during the Kardungla challenge. But I
Hmm.
thought, okay, fine. Let me not let any negativity in. So I
Yeah.
was not letting any negative self-talk to distract me. I thought, okay, fine.
So how do
I
you do
have,
that? How do you? That's a good point you're saying, right? That's a gold in what you're saying. So how did you do that? How did you make sure that you're staying focused on that?
mm, yeah, that's in the detail. I would say,
Mm.
divided the 100 miles into smaller chunks.
Mm.
And I thought, I can do 50 in 6 hours. Okay,
No, no. Like,
100.
how did you? Your point about staying away from negative self-talk. How did you do
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Whenever I used to get negative self-talk, I mean, negative thought that, will you be able to complete? Is it feasible for you? It's an unknown territory. You have not run more than 12 hours till now. Can
Uh,
your body sustain? So I simplified it. In 12 hours
mm.
I can do this much. Later, even if I walk, I can complete. This was the, kind of pacifying thought. I
Yeah.
always used to
Got
counter
it.
that negative with this thought, and that's how I stayed positive. And one good thing is, when I'm alone, I am not that negative person. The
Mm.
negativity mostly comes from outside, so I self isolate.
Got it.
So
Got
I'm,
it.
I'm more comfortable with me. And also, whenever I have any issue, I just give a call to Babu sir, and
Mm.
he's always motivating, and he simplifies things just like I did. So
Makes
that's
sense.
how
Yeah.
I did not let any negativity creep in, because I knew that,
Mhm.
the challenge itself was really big. There were some facts, right? I haven't run more than 12 hours till now. So this was,
Mm.
at least my goal was to finish in 24 hours. So still that second part was an unknown territory. So there were a lot of things that, you know that could worry you, but I did not
Mhm.
want any of them to, trouble me, because I already knew I was low on preparation. So
Yeah.
that was the last thing I wanted. So and definitely, positive self-talk really helps. At least from my experience, it really helps. And yeah, I went to Jaisalmer. There also, I was staying alone for the same reason. And
Mhm.
the day before the event, we just went for bib collection, and things happened. And on the race day,
So,
yeah,
just to call out on that, right? I think what you're saying is a lot of gold, right? A lot of gold in what you just said about this self-talk and managing the negative self-talk, and then now you chose to stay alone, which is in a form of almost kind of getting into a meditative state before
yeah,
a big event, right? And a lot of athletes do that, right? A lot of elite athletes you've talked, I've heard of, I've read of, who just cut themselves out for before a big event, and I think what you're saying kind of makes a lot of sense, and it's just to focus, get your energies together. um, great takeaway, makes a lot of sense.
yeah. And then this event is a little challenging, because this starts at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So the
Hmm.
initial 50K itself is really challenging, because it happens in the hot sun, and the temperature goes till, when I check my Garmin data, it says the maximum was 35 degrees Celsius.
Wow,
So and then there's a
that is
drastic
hot.
change. Yeah, it's really hot, and you're running in desert basically. This road is
Yeah.
in, on the both side you have Thar desert, and you are just running in between. So, and the thing is, once the sun sets, the temperature drops sharply, and
Hmm.
it drops to single digit degree Celsius again. So, and it was the least was 5 degrees Celsius, but with the wind that blows, the feel was
Hmm.
much
Yeah.
chiller. The problem, but the good thing is, I like cold weather. I'm not
Mhm.
so afraid of cold weather. I don't like hot weather.
That's
So
interesting, isn't it? For someone who comes from, coastal Karnataka who's born and lived in hot weather is like more comfortable in cold weather. That's
Yeah, I
interesting.
mean, I'm used to take bath in those glacier rivers, so
Yeah.
so that's how it is. So yeah, I mean, first initial 50K was challenging because of the weather, and the thing is, you have to manage your salt levels. Otherwise, you
Hmm.
will get cramps. I mean, if you get cramps in initial 50K, you still have 110 kilometers to run, and it's really difficult. So managing salt levels, electrolytes, water, hydrating, it was all key. The hydration points were only at every 10th kilometer here, so we had to
Hmm.
carry the hydration pack, and we had to plan. There's a lot of planning that goes on, right? Because what you will eat, what you will drink. You don't want to drink too much electrolytes. Also, you have to manage everything. So uh, and yeah, I mean, the race plan was simple for me. My goal was only to get to the next 8 point, that is every
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
kilometers. So I divided it into chunks of 10K, and I just ran. So I carried four salt tablets, so I used it in the initial 50K. And
Hmm.
after that it was cold, and I mean, as I said, that wasn't a real concern for me. But
Yeah.
it's magical running in the night in desert.
Hmm.
And the good thing about this race is it's organized on the night when there is a full moon.
Okay. Wow.
So there's very less cloud in Rajasthan side, and it's you don't really need your head torch at all. You can run without your head torch because the moon is shining like that. It's
And
good.
you probably can see all the sand dunes in the night in the reflections of the
Yes,
moon.
yes, yes. You can
That
see
must be
quite a bit.
quite
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Running at night was amazing, and one thing was, we saw a shooting star that was very close to us. See,
Wow.
as a mountaineer, I'm always fascinated by this night sky, and I've seen a
Hmm.
lot of shooting stars, but this one was so close. I could even see the color change from yellow to orange to red, and then it just disappears. So it was magical. That was a magical experience, and many people saw that. Otherwise, I would have thought that it could be hallucination after running 80 or 90K. But it was true. So then, uh, after at 60th K, we were given this food, solid food, that's dal and rice and some potatoes. And after that, there was one guy called Pankaj from Indore. He chose to stick with me. So that was,
Hmm.
in a way good. I was prepared mentally to
Yeah.
run alone, but he chose to stick with me, and it was good. I mean, we were, without compromising on pace, we were just moving. So we just did a walk run strategy, and we reached 100K in around 15 hours, I think. We
Hmm.
reached 100K, and from there we just continued. And I had some issues at the end, last 10K. My right foot got swollen, but it was not a problem at all. I mean, completing was not a problem. So completed in 22 and 40, 22 hours 40. So that was much better than my target of 24 and cutoff of
Hmm.
28. So really happy with that.
Well, hearty congratulations on that.
Thank
And
you.
was it from an elevation gain perspective mostly flat, or did you have rolling hills also in this course?
The initial 50 and the last 60 were rolling hills.
Hmm.
But otherwise, if you take the net elevation, it was relatively flat with some
All
rolling
right.
hills. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. So this is your first 100 miler.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Uh, so are you hooked to this? What's next? Are you going to
Uh,
be doing more 100 milers, or is it going to be mountaineering? Where are you headed?
So, I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty now with again,
Hmm.
lockdown starting. But
Yeah.
I definitely want to go back to mountains because I'm missing
Hmm.
that from last 2 3 years.
Yeah.
So, I, I'm not, signing up for any event as such for now, but keeping the options open. But when I get the next window, I definitely want to go for mountaineering. So, I want to do an expedition.
Anything in particular that calls your name?
Nothing. I need to discuss with my friends and zero
Okay.
down on things, because there are a lot of things, the lot of things that matter. The window,
Yeah.
the season, the window, and all matters. So it's a very thin window what you have in mountaineering, right? If you want
Yeah.
to go above 5,000 meters,
Yeah.
then you only have the summer window, that is from July till September. So
Hmm.
that's a short window. So if you want to do it in April time, then you have to choose a relatively lower place.
Hmm.
So I'm still open for I'll
Yeah.
decide when things are more clear.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about other mountain ranges other than Himalayas? Any bucket list?
I mean, I'm little kind of a spontaneous person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I get a chance, I probably sign up for that and I'll go.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I haven't
And
thought about it actually.
yeah, yeah, makes
So
sense. Makes sense. It doesn't have to be always a long range planning. It's like your how it happened with Kardungla, right? Some it came up and you said, okay, I want to sign, and you take one day at a time, kind of a thing, right? Yeah.
even
So
the
it's a good.
100 miler, I just decided 4 months back. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a good strategy. Live in the moment, and some broadly saying that this is what I'm about. I'm about endurance, challenge, adventure, and being open to something exciting popping up, and you just pick it up as it comes. Great,
yeah.
great way to do it. Yeah. Well, hey, Guru, I think that was quite a bit of your journey that you shared with us, and you really nice. I was able to be with you, at least for me personally. I don't know whether I'll go to Himalayas and when I will do it, but I almost felt like I was there with you. It was so vivid, and the way you presented each detail, it was almost like I was there myself. So thank you for that, and I hope the audience and the listeners who are listening to this also feel the same and enjoy vicariously what you experienced. Um, so, hey, we are going into the last part of this conversation, which is a fun Q&A round that I have for my guests.
Okay,
So, are you ready for that?
let's do it.
Okay. Okay, here we go. So, the first one is a favorite of mine for all my guests. Is what is your favorite junk food that you like to indulge in?
Well, I eat everything, so I don't control. I'm not
Yeah, but what's
sure.
your one junk food, something that is your indulgence? If you were to
I
give it to you, you would love to keep doing it again and again.
I I actually like this, grilled chicken, but I don't know whether it comes in the junk food category.
Okay.
but I like it very much.
Yeah, that's not junk food. That's
Junk
that's
food,
all
yeah.
protein, and
Protein.
it's grilled, so it's all healthy.
Grills, healthy. Well, I like pizza as well once in a while, so I do
So that's
also
that
like
is
it.
your
Yeah,
favorite junk food. So it's not like you're a major junk food guy. You like to eat
yeah,
mostly good food and clean food. Looks like
yeah.
no ice creams and things like that.
Not much, but once in a while I do have it, but I don't have any craving as such for
Yeah,
that
yeah,
chocolates, ice cream, and all. But if I get, I do have it.
yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Another passion outside of endurance sport.
Uh, I do biking as well. I mean,
Hmm.
motorcycle. I do own a KTM Duke, and I
Okay.
do long rides. So I have ridden from Bangalore to my place. That's 550 kilometers, quite a few times. So I also like taking my bike out and just going.
Nice, nice, nice. Your favorite running gadget?
I own a Forerunner 935 now, and I like it a lot.
Okay, it's your watch,
Watch, yes,
the Garmin, right?
Garmin.
Nice. Do you listen to music? Is there a song that inspires you?
Well, I'm not a very fond of music, but if I talk about one song that really inspires us, there was It's not from any movie as such. That was a theme song from Mumbai Marathon in, I think, 2018 or something, written by Sukhwinder Singh.
Okay.
Soch liya to mumkin hai. That's a really nice one.
Nice. That's a nice tagline.
Yeah. सोच लिया तो
Nice.
मुमकिन है निकल पड़ो तो मुमकिन है. That's a nice one.
Beautiful. So you don't listen to music at all in your training?
No,
Okay.
I just keep, I don't listen to music. I just like to connect with the nature, so I don't listen to music.
So what is your favorite source of inspiration from outside? Is it books, movies, podcasts? Where do you get your...
I That's difficult to answer because I have read some running books.
Okay.
I don't really listen to podcasts and all, but I'm not definitely not a movie person. I
Okay.
never watch movies. But yeah, some books I have read. I mean, I have read some running related books, and they have inspired. Like could be from Dean Karnazes or yeah. So
Got it.
even Adharadan Finn about Kenyan running and Japanese running. So those are nice.
Got it. Got it. All right. Your favorite time to train, sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise. Always
Sunrise.
hooked to it. I like watching sunrise and both sunset as well. I like those orange colors. To be honest,
Yeah.
I can watch the sunrise every day if I get a chance. So
Yeah.
even some days after my work, I just take my bike and I go to a beach here. I mean, it's hardly 5 minutes ride, so I just go
Got it.
watch sunset and come back.
Terrific. Great. Hey, you did well in the Q&A. Learned a few more things about you in the process. We're coming to a wrap up here, and I want to give you the last word. Any final messages to our audience before we wrap up?
Okay, I would just say that for being an endurance sport, it's very important to be consistent. You don't have to chase big goals in the initial years because I've seen a lot of people who chose 5 events, 10 events in the initial years, and then they stopped it at all completely. They stopped it completely. So I would say being consistent in this really helps. You'll have to have a long term goal. Goal is not to do well in an event, but kind of healthy lifestyle or a process that will really help. That's what has worked for me, and that's the message I'd like to give. It's a long term journey.
Yeah. Beautiful. Guru, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you, learning from you. And I hope you continue to scale new mountains, continue to hit that sub 312 or 310 that you signed up. I'm sure you will. So thank you so much. And I wish you a wonderful 2022, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you so much and for connecting and giving me this opportunity. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.